that wants you to make money as bad as I do. I am your #1 fan. And you are not going to like me some days because of it.
Did you see that? I showed this in Mastermind with them, but did you see that American Idol audition? The black kid that came from a terrible background, foster care, and the only person who ever believed him was a singing coach. And now he's one of the...
Changed his whole world.
Changed his whole world. He's incredible, but someone believed in him, which pushed him to be.
It only takes one person. Okay, so I wrote down under this bars as you can. What you do today will be the standard that everyone around you will emulate. Oh, I like that. What you do today will be the standard that everyone around you will emulate. So, let's translate that. Your staff will perform the level you perform at. Does that make sense? If you're giving your very best, if they see you not screwing around, if they whatever, they're going to do the same thing, right? This transfers into your kids, into your family, into everything. It transfers into everything. Don't set the bar low, set the bar high. Number 10, never let your ego get in the way of success. This one has got to be the hardest of all the ones we just talked about. Never let your ego get in the way of your success. And the thought I really like under this one is ego and profitability run in opposite directions. And the problem with ego is it manifests itself in so many ways that it's really hard for us to understand it. You know, it's just something you could study your whole life, but when we won't call our COI, that's ego, right? When we get tremendously upset because someone has offended us or said something negative to us, that's our ego, right? I mean, you can't get offended if you're not thinking about yourself, right? There's so many ways. Even not staying on our schedule is ego. I mean, it's thinking that we got to handle the stuff ourselves, our own deals, and fill out our own paperwork is ego. It's just so many ways it manifests itself. But I like the idea. Profitability and the ego run in opposite directions.
Is that point 11?
Whatever one you want.
Profitability,
And ego run in opposite directions.
I don't know what I said.
Profitability and ego run in opposite directions.
Bernie Gallarino next agent. And these are his thoughts on how to maintain momentum. He says, consistently producing in high volumes can wear you down physically, mentally, and spiritually. So he's saying when you're doing, the first time I ever really met him was last year. He takes 400 listings a year. That's a machine. 400 listings a year. And most of them were for sale by owner. Is that amazing?
Wow.
So see, these guys set the bar pretty high, right? I'm only asking you for 50, for heaven's sakes.
The funny part is where Bernie Gallerini is too.
Yeah.
Very, very small.
Nashville, or not even Nashville.
He's outside of Nashville.
He's moved to Nashville.
Suburban.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple things. So first thing on his list, mindset. First thing on his list, mindset. Notice how all these guys refer back to how you think. I think, has anybody read any of the tennis books? The Andre Agassi book or any of the books?
Yeah.
I love tennis. I don't play it very well, hardly play it at all. But the reason I love it so much is I think it's the most grueling mental sport there is on planet Earth. Yeah, and you say why? Do you guys have any idea why I think that?
Because you're all alone.
You're all by yourself. You've got to withstand the highs and the lows through the 3 or 4 hour match that there is, right? And you don't have anyone saying you can do it, or let me tell you what you need to do different, or whatever. You're out there all by yourself. They don't allow anyone to coach you. They don't allow that. That's grueling. You know, when you have a bad set or a bad game or whatever, no one comes out and says, let me tell you what you did wrong. It's okay, you're still in there, keep going. You know, in basketball, you can call timeout. In football, you got coaches, you can call timeout. In soccer, you can call timeout.
Work on synergy with people.
Yeah, you can get all this energy. You don't get it. You're all by yourself. That's grueling. It wears you down physically and mentally. In fact, the other thing about tennis is physically, it's got to be one of the hardest sports on your body because you're on a hard surface, and no tennis players ever retire physically okay. Their backs, their knees, their joints, their shoulders, it's all beat up. It's all hammered. Yes.
You know, just one point in that. I think the thing that I've always liked, I mean, you see these pros that will be in one of the sets, and they're not doing very well, and they'll just blow it off. They'll just blow it off. They go, I'm going to lose this sucker, so I'm just going to go ahead and lose, and I'm going to get on the next one. They come back to the next one, and boom,
They're on.
They're right back on. I mean, that is mental toughness.
It'll be fun to watch to see how Houston comes back after the loss last night. I have a feeling we have our hands full. We'll see. Because winners, they forget the loss and they move on, right? And we've got to learn to do that. So underneath.
With tennis, it's really interesting because as you're in the sets, you have to be able to analyze what they're doing right and what you're doing wrong, but then at the exact same time, forget every point after it's done.
That's right. You have to forget so fast, right? I do believe that part happens in all sports. I was watching our rookie last night, Donovan Mitchell. He can go and have the worst play in the world and completely be gone, and the next time down, he is going to go straight at him again, not even remembering the last ball was an air ball. I mean, he doesn't even care. That is the attitude of a real estate agent. So remember, attitude, approach, and expectations are the key to success. Attitude, approach, and expectations. Matt.
How do you practice that muscle of forgetting so fast? You know, I mean, you set an appointment, next person, I gotta go.
So it's a great question. It is a function of big thinking. When you see the picture big enough, nothing is important. Does that make sense? See, when you guys come in and you've lost a transaction, I don't care. You know, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, so what? What's next? You know, that's the thing. When if I have someone yell and scream at me, so next. You know, if I'm a big thinker, I don't focus on the little things, right? I only focus on little things because I'm a little thinker. Does that make sense? If I focus on big things, if I'm a big thinker. So the problem is we get off track. It's the same with not delegating, right? I'm bound to determine not how I'm going to handle myself. And that's the small thinker, okay? Big thinkers don't worry about little things. They don't let little things bother them. Does that make sense?
I think one thing to that is somebody mentioned the other day that you have to do 10,000 hours of something before you become an expert.
Outliers, the book Outliers.
And so as you're going on appointments, or like when I was learning how to play tennis, I'd be so frustrated because I know what I want to do, but it just wasn't happening. But the thing is that you have to do it. You have to put the time in before you actually get the rights to do it. So if you go on these appointments and you get shot down, that's putting your time in. You've got to put the time in.
I'm not frustrated at all by learning Spanish. Who cares?
Yeah, usted, exactly.
It's just scripts. I will get this. So that's all there is to it. I'm learning my scripts, you're learning your scripts. Same thing. So I wrote down, don't ever feel like you've accomplished something great. Don't allow yourself to do that, okay? You've always got to be saying, I need to learn more. I need to learn more. I need to learn more. This keeps you in momentum because you know there's more to learn. Okay, next, he says schedule. Start every day at the same time. Start every day at the same time. Get on the phone at the same time. Okay? Get on the phone at the same time, yes.
Does that include weekends?
You know it does, and I have to tell you, I'm not good at that. So I get up at the same time every morning. I mean, I wake up on weekends, on Saturday, Sunday. I wake up right at the same time every day, 10 minutes to 4. Every single day, I wake up at the same time. But on Saturday, I go, not today.
Force yourself to go back to sleep.
I don't have to force it all. I wake up, I look at the clock, and I think it's Saturday. But yes, it does include everybody that I've ever talked to that's really, really successful says they get up at the same time every single day. And I think, oh my gosh. So, you know, we all have work to do on something, right? For some of you, just getting up before 6 would be nice. So, you know, we all have something to work on. Next, he says prospect. Get on the phone calling expired withdrawals and FISBOs, etc. The thing is, he says to produce the high levels, you need 3 to 5 hours. 3 to 5 hours a day. So he's not saying an hour or two. And he said, and then he goes on and just ... One of the biggest factors in being successful in this business is not having any interruptions. They all say the same thing about interruptions. Not having any interruptions, not having any interruptions. Look, interruptions do not allow you to bring maximum value to the hour. Does that make sense? You can't have maximum value to the hour if there are interruptions. I got to get the most out of this hour. I don't know how Juan contacted the number of people he contacted per hour. I don't know, but I guarantee you there were no interruptions. Cause you can't contact that many people an hour and have an interruption. The one thing I will tell you is, Eric Delgado from San Diego, California was doing 950 close transactions a year. When I was sitting next to him, that's more than these guys. When I was sitting next to him, I said, what's the secret? He says, I prospect 6 hours a day every day. 6 hours a day every day. I says, are you kidding me? He says, no. He says, I actually, my staff has a sign on the door, do not interrupt. And then it says, if you interrupt me with a problem, you now are the problem. And so they all know, don't interrupt him. 6 hours a day. And guess who he called? Just listed, just sold. No FISBOs, no expires.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? He's a machine.
How do you do that? So like 6 hours, like how does he
Straight
manage
or broken up?
appointments?
Well,
Can you
no,
go
he,
back
look, he sets the appointment and staff comes and picks up the appointment. They handle everything. When he walks out the door, all the appointments are set, all the packages have been done, everything's done, all he's gonna do now is go present.
So you just straight to present.
Yeah. That's
So
amazing.
when he sets an appointment, does he just like shoot an email?
No, he
out
does,
there?
I don't know how he did it, I just know he never left the room.
Or is someone in there listening to
Yeah,
pick the
I
info
don't-
immediately?
It doesn't matter. Brian used to be here in Lisa Jones's office, and I said, I don't wanna see your assistant walk in your office. It's really bad to be right across the hall from me because I watch everything. Okay, and I watched the assistant walk in the office. I said, what are you doing? Well, I'm talking to Brian. Says, no, he's prospecting. So Brian and I, he had a little thing like a doctor's out there that you could put a file in. So when he'd set an appointment, he'd open the door, stick it in the thing, and shut the door, and still be on the phone calling. The assistant would walk by, take it, pull all the comps, do all the work and everything. Then at 12 o'clock, she'd tell him what appointments he was going on. Good system, right? See, the thing is, here's the thing: if people are doing 600, 700, 800, 900 transactions a year, and we're only going to do 50. I mean, there's got to be more to that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be another standard to that. I mean, yeah, I know that, you know, at 50 you'd be given the Agent of the Year award in every company. They make a statue of you and put it in the parking lot, but not here. The goal's not 50. The goal's to make a lot of money and to be done with his business, or have a lot of freedom to decide what you want to do with his business in 5 or 10 years. Okay. Next, pattern behavior. Pattern behavior. He says you have to embrace repetitious boredom. They all say the same thing. They all say show up at the same time, prospect at the same time, call your clients at the same time. They all say the same thing. In other words, become a robot. Okay, that's what they say. And you know what? Hey, it's not bad being a robot for 10 hours if you can do whatever you want other than that, right? Next, master the scripts. This part you're not going to like at all. In order to master anything, it takes 10 years. If you haven't read the book Outliers, read it. Okay? In order to master anything, it takes 10 years. John, you said it only took 2. I didn't say it took 2. I said to be good at 2. And 10, you're untouchable. Okay? So in order to how long does it take to become a master tennis player? The best of the world.
You
16
pretty much
years.
pop out of the womb.
You start at 4, and at 35 you're broken down and beat up, but you're really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
This reminds me, I was actually talking to my wife about this, where the skills that I've gained the last year, I honestly believe I've gained 10 years of experience in the last year.
You have.
And imagine if you had that same intensity for 10 years, it'd take 2-3 lifetimes for somebody who performs at a normal level to catch up with you.
Yeah, they'll never ever catch up with you.
Yeah.
I wrote down this point right here. This point right here eliminates 99% of all agents. This point will eliminate 99% of your
To
competition.
mastering the scripts?
Mastering, that it takes 10 years to master something. That you're going to work on it every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. I don't know how long it takes to become a concert pianist, but it's a long time. I'm going to guess over 10 years. Okay? I'm hoping it doesn't take 10 years to learn Spanish, but if it does, I'm in. Whatever it takes. So I do know how long it takes to become good at music in some areas. I know how long it takes to become good in athletics in some areas. And 10 years is really, if there's not a lot of intensity in it, in 10 years, you're still not going to be there. You guys are practicing at the intensity. I need you to practice that to become so good that nobody can touch you. You're practicing at that level. Some of you, not all of you, but I hope all of you get there. Okay, in order to master anything, it takes 10 years. If you're going to be a master, you have to study it every day and dissect it in order to really understand it at high levels. I wrote ... record everything. Can we dissect much better if you're recording?
Yes.
See, I can't dissect very well if you're not recording, but if you are recording, I can dissect. Is there anybody in real estate that you know that is working on scripts as hard as you are, that is recording everything and having it dissected all the time, all the time, all the time? No, there's nobody. This is so far above everybody else that if you'll just stay on the program, don't get discouraged, go to work, do what we ask, your life's going to change forever. Next, mastermind. This group should help you learn to think bigger and should challenge you to exceed what you think is possible. Okay, so this group should help you learn to think bigger and challenge what you think, or challenge you to exceed what you think is possible. So the idea of a mastermind group is expose yourself to people who are bigger thinkers than you are. Okay, expose yourself to. Every week, my mastermind group, we are all sending each other stuff. Well, you're doing this, tell me about that, send it to me. You're doing this, send me that, send me this, whatever, you know. And it's really good because nobody will allow anybody an excuse of why they're not doing what they're supposed to do. So if someone says, well, you know, I have this or that, and that. Oh, so you're going to go ahead and put a cast on that and limp around on that excuse for a while, huh? That's how they talk to each other. So there are no excuses. Evidently, cancer is not one. It's a great mastermind group. Find a mastermind group. You've got to have other people's brains. Okay, next, environment. Create a workspace and an environment that allows you to thrive. Look at your workspace. Is there stuff there that's going to feed your brain and help you to go to another level, or is there stuff in there that's going to take you away from it? Walked by the other day and saw Cody's truck. Gosh, that looks nice. I kind of like one of those. I mean, there's a nice truck.
It's a really nice truck.
It's a really nice truck.
What do you get in?
What kind of truck?
I'm getting a Chevy 3/4 ton diesel. Brand new.
All he's got to do is 5 more closings in June. Is that it? 4 more closings in June. 4 more closings in June. He gets it. He had to have 18 closings in 3 months. Seems reasonable. Next stop. Systems. So this goes back to how pure your business is. Okay, your systems have to be developed so they operate like a well-oiled machine. They have to be developed so that they operate like a well-oiled machine. So I wrote this down. The better your systems are, the more value you can bring to the hour. The better your systems are, the more value you can bring to the hour. Does that make sense to you guys? If my systems are really, really good, it eliminates me from doing everything except for what I'm supposed to be doing. So a really good agent will come in and prospect in the morning. If they don't have appointments in the afternoon, they're going to come back and they're going to go at it again. They're going to call all the people back they couldn't reach in the morning. They're going to call all the expireds they couldn't reach. They're going to call all the FISBOs they couldn't reach. They're going to call all the COI they couldn't reach. They're going to call back again in the afternoon. If you have an appointment, then don't worry about it. But that's the goal, yeah.
I was just gonna say that. I mean, there's no excuse for not setting an appointment. It's just the time that you're putting into it. You're not giving it enough.
Right. Yeah. Anybody can set an appointment. Every day, everybody can set an appointment. So I was talking to Randy today. He says, John, is there any reason why I shouldn't be attending one appointment a day? And I said, yes. He says, what? I says, you. I says, there are so many 4-700, so many people doing real estate right now. For the next 90 days, it's going to be completely insane. I says, if you're not attending an appointment a day, then you're just really not trying. I mean, if your skills are good. Okay, if your skills are good. Okay, next, opportunity. Is this an opportunity that you're in right now in real estate? Is this a rare, special opportunity for you? It is. It's unbelievable. Are there any other careers that you can think of that will offer what real estate offers? Let's see. I have no education, right? I have no special natural gifted, maybe say skills or anything like that, but I can make a 7-figure income. How many other careers provide that? I mean, even if I went into the medical field, I'd be in school for 9 or 10 years. and when I come out, I'm gonna make 250 to 350, maybe very top, 400 or 500,000 a year. You're talking double what someone that went to medical school for 10 years is gonna do. Double. And guess what? You don't come out of here in debt, 5, 6, 7, 800,000. This is your opportunity to change everything for really very, very little investment. Next, recharge. This is a big one. Reward yourself by taking time off. Okay, but scheduled time off. If you know you have a 2-week vacation coming up, does it make work a little bit better? It does me. Somehow I'm not too stressed out about it very much. If I know I've got a week and a half or 2 weeks off, I think, oh, this is all right. Yeah, that's no big deal. So schedule time off because that avoids burnout. Let's go to John Ames next, last guy. So same thing, this is the first thing he says, top producers in any profession. Now John comes from the business field, Fortune 500 company. So he left the Fortune 500 company and went into the real estate business because of the Fortune 500 company. They're paying him good, but he could make double or triple in real estate what he could make there. So that's kind of interesting. How many people give up a $300,000 or $400,000 a year job because they think they can make, 4 or 5 times more or 10 times more than they were? Not very many people leave $400,000 or $500,000 a year jobs. He says, top producers in any profession run at a fast pace, endure high stress, work or practice for long hours. So that's part of the deal. Okay, I got to run at a fast pace, endure high stress, work or practice for long hours. John Senior called me today. Hey, are you going to the office today? No, I only have 15 appointments. Of course I'm going to the office today. Where do you think I'm going? He thought I was taking the day off like him to go down to the graduation. I said, yeah, I'll leave tonight around 6, get down there around 10 o'clock at night, check into the hotel, go to the graduation in the morning. But guess where I get to go after that? The ranch. Made it easier to get out of bed this morning at 10 to 4. Because guess what? I don't have to do tomorrow. Lakes. Yeah, I'm excited about that. All right. Okay, so he wrote down, to be a top producer in real estate, you must prospect longer. He says 50 hours a day is what high producers, 50 hours, 50 contacts a day. 50 contacts a day is what high producers do. And one of the things that you'll find if you go talk with Brian Burnett is he says, why are you only talking to 30 people? He says that all the time. Go on more listing appointments, take more listings, so that's expectations versus motion, right? And so in other words, we're going to talk to more people. And the big thing here, he says, you've got to learn to do more in a shorter period of time than most agents do in days or weeks. That's what you were talking about, man. You're learning at a pace that if someone entered the real estate business today, Matt, and did exactly what you and Cody and Daniel and Mitch and a lot of you guys are doing, they will never catch you. Because as long as you keep working on the skills, the level you are, they can never ever catch you.
Can you say that? Learn to what? Sorry.
Do more
in a shorter period of time than most agents do in a day or a week.
You can do that when you delegate.
That's right. Well, so here's the things that help you with that, right? Delegation is huge. Skills are huge. Because I'm going to get way more out of the hour if my skills are good, aren't I? Because I can talk to 10 or 12 people and set no appointments, or I can talk to 10 or 12 people and set an appointment. So skills are a big part of this, right? Efficiency. Eliminating all distractions are a big part of this. We talk about this. How pure is the process? We only focus on the process. If we focus on the process, the outcome will be what we want. Focus on the process, the outcome will be what we want. So on this point, do more in a shorter period of time. I wrote down this has to do with the value you bring to the hour. We keep talking about it. The value you bring to the hour, the value you bring to the hour, the value you bring to the hour. It's funny, some people are able to say they're here 10 hours a day, and then when they come in, they've only talked to 50, 60, 70 people in a week. I don't know what they're doing. That they're not getting the value out of the hour, though. Does that make sense? And then he says, do that, what I just said, do more in shorter periods of time, do it continuously for long periods of time. It's going to be monotonous and boring. Okay, so some of the things that that the others have said, that I'll just go over them, but he says a very detailed schedule, we've talked about that. Number 2, he says plan your vacations. He goes on 4 vacations a year. That'd be fun.
How many?
4. He goes on four good vacations a year, so 1 a quarter, and they're really nice vacations.
How long?
I don't know. He says work when you work, play when you play. I like that. Here's the thing. So at the beginning of every year, we get a glance for a year. My family would. We'd sit down at the very big in December, and we go, okay. The first thing we planned were family vacations. That was the first thing. Where are we going to circle them on the deal?
That's so cool.
Yeah. And then I said, because I want my family to know they came before everything else, right? The calendar is empty. Where are we going to go when we're going to go? And then this went on the wall in my house, and the kids would go, well, we want to go here. And we said, where do you want to go? You know, and the kids would kind of pick where they want to go. It got kind of expensive at the end when it was Africa and all the other stuff, because the vacations started becoming $60,000 vacations. But fun. So I want them to think, hey, this is how people do it, right? At the beginning of the year, they plan their year vacations, when they're going to do it, and where they want to go is just to determine where their finger stops on the globe. It's a good way to go on vacation. So then I said, okay, now what activities do you kids have? You know, what kinds of football games and basketball games and dance recitals and piano recitals and all the crap are you guys going to have? Let's put that all in there, right? And then what times are we going to go to the ranch? When are we going to go to our ranch? We have a family ranch, and we spend a lot of time there in the summer, so put those all in, right? So then, what kind of education am I going to do? What Mike Ferry events am I going to go on? Whatever, put them all in, fill those all in. So the whole year is filled in. Whatever's left over is work. That's not bad. It's a good way to live. And he talks about plan your vacations, okay? Next. He writes down, visit the bank once a week. That's a new one you haven't heard. He says, I watch my money very carefully. I watch my money very carefully. So he says, you have 2 choices. You either manage your money or your money manages you. I like that thought. You either learn to manage your money or your money manages you. Look, don't be overwhelmed by this. Just start by taking 10 or so % out of every check and putting it somewhere. Just start with that. That's a start. If you're better than that already, you're further than that, good for you. Then start figuring out how you're going to fund retirement programs or investments, and have you taken out money for your taxes and all the other stuff that we're supposed to do, right? Okay, next, of course, and they all say the same thing, because you can't do the level that they're doing. Delegate everything. He said, I only have 2 jobs: find an appointment, go on an appointment. That's all he does. Everything else is done. The closer, the more pure you get to that process, the more money you're going to make. And I'm going to tell you, for brand new people, it's harder. Is it hard to delegate everything in the beginning because it's expensive? And that first commission check, you might not get any of it. No, I'm just telling you. But it is a fundamental, basic truth to making more money. So we're becoming fundamentally sound in the beginning, rather than trying to become fundamentally sound after we've created bad habits. Does that make sense? Okay. Have a hobby and make time for it. I like that one. I really like that one. None of the other guys no one of them said study what you like, right? So have a hobby and make time for it. So right now I have my wife and Brittany, my daughter, taking golf lessons. I'm going to take up golf again. I haven't golfed for 6 or 7 years at least. And I love golf. If there is anything that releases more pressure than snapping and beating the crap out of that ball, hitting as hard as you can, not caring where it goes, I just don't know what would be.
What about shooting an animal?
Well, no, that's fun too, yeah. Yeah, anything violent.
Anything fun.
I swing as hard as I can at that ball, and I do not care where it goes. It does not matter to me. If I lose a ball, I'm 1 under. And that's how I score my game at golf.
It's all 1 under.
How'd you shoot today? 8 under.
So you lost.
I'm out there, just out there having a good time. So find something that's fun. So make a hobby, make time for it. Okay, next he says review your business plan daily. Review your business plan daily. That's a good one. That's a really good one. You've got to remind yourself what it is you're doing. Okay, and I like it when you guys have a yearly business plan, but I really like it when you focus on like a 60 to 90 day plan, because it's easy to stay on 60 to 90 days. It's a little harder to remember the whole year sometimes. But we say, hey, it's 60, and then there's got to be a reward at the end of that. If I hit this, I get this, right? so there needs to be reward. And it doesn't have to be big, but man, if you hit your 90-day plan, go up and stay a couple nights at the Montage. You're going to feel good about yourself. Not only that, you're going to wonder why you're not up there all the time. You know, that kind of stuff. It's fun, or whatever it is you like. Next, have accountability partners. Have accountability partners. Just write it down. If I have no accountability, I'm not serious. This is the end of it. We don't need to talk about it anymore. Okay? If I don't have accountability, I'm not serious. It's that simple. I understand we're going to start a weight loss accountability next week. Is that correct?
You put Randy in charge of it, so who knows?
Well, I talked to him today in coaching, and he assured me that next week we would start. So
So the accountability to set up the accountability.
I don't know. I think so. Maybe I don't know. I better check on that.
You better do that.
Yeah, I better do that. Okay, so have accountability partners. Look, accountability partners help us change behavior. Okay, they help us change behavior. They're just a necessary part. This morning, I think I've operated on an average of about 3.5 hours of sleep a night this week. It's really unusual for me. I'm usually a lot better than that, but a lot of things have interfered with it at night. So 3.5 hours a night. This morning when the alarm went off at 10 minutes to 4, my brain was in high gear. What can I do to get out of this? And I set it up so that the answer is nothing. Because if I'm not there, I owe $1,000. Accountability is a beautiful thing, except for when you're eating cat food and getting up at 10 minutes to 4 in the morning. That's the only time that you wonder about it. Look, have accountability partners. It's what we need, guys, to get better. Next, okay, he says, get financial experts to manage your money. Get financial experts to manage your money. I really like that one. We should have coaches in all areas that we're not experts in. You know, I hired a Spanish coach. I hired a ski instructor. I mean, if I want to get good at something, I'm going to hire somebody.
It's like John. I mean, I had a hard time. I talked to a couple people about him, and people just have a hard time. $1,000 for a whole year of advice, taxes and everything.
See, that's like free, right?
It's free.
You know, that is free. I paid to set up my whatever you call it, trusts and all that kind of crap. I think I paid $2,500 or $3,000, but it covers everything. And that's a good idea. You know, I mean, it's a really good idea. I mean, there's no question as to what goes where or why or who or anything. It's all done. And so, you know, look, especially if you start making some money, it's irresponsible not to have this stuff planned.
I think what's been awesome is that we see the difference between for sale by owner and ourselves, and we can use that as an example.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah, you can save money.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you tons of money. On the road.
Yep, it is.
I mean, just get a professional.
In fact, you know what? I'm probably going to hire him because he knows a lot more than I know. And I've had a lot of experts give me advice, and I've followed it along the way and all that. But I like some of the things that he says, and I probably am going to just, I mean, for $1,000,
I like the way you just said, my job is to get you out of all the taxes possible. That's his main,
That's his
one
job.
goal, right?
I love
One
that.
thing that we focus on.
I love that.
Save you taxes,
It's
yeah.
a guy we have that comes in that helps with the agents with their taxes. It's a great guy to have in here. No, it's really great. So last, take time to be happy and enjoy life. Enjoy the little things. If you're not having fun with your family, then it doesn't matter how much money you make. Does that make sense to you? Guys, we're supposed to be having fun. Work your freaking butt off when you're here, and then play like there's no limit to the money you make, and just have as much fun as you can have. I have a rule when I go on vacation. If I have to ask what it costs, I'm not going. It's the rule. I don't care what it costs. When they said, hey, somebody told, they said in Panama, hey, there's these islands out in the middle of the ocean, and you won't believe it. These people have never seen. I mean, some of these people have never seen white people ever. And they said these are right in the middle of the ocean. So you won't believe it. It's unbelievable. There's scattered thousands of them out in the middle of the ocean. I said, let's go see them. They said, well, there's no roads or anything. I said, well, how do you get to them? They said, helicopter. Let's get a helicopter. Isn't that fun? And the only decision I had to make was, do you want the doors on or the doors off?
Hands on, yes.
Of course I want the doors off.
And a really big seatbelt.
Yeah, big seatbelt.
John was just
Ocean,
strapped on
you're
underneath.
small.
I was strapped on with my cameraman on like this, taking pictures.
Bungee jumping out of it.
Yeah.
Bad people have to.
All right, so those are the points that 3 really, really high producers are giving to everyone to say, hey, give me these ideas some thought to build a large business and to create momentum and keep momentum. It's really important now, more than any other time of the year, that you get this momentum going and you keep it all the way through August. Okay, now, in August, am I gonna tell you to slow down?
No.
No.
sir.
No, I have a
Yeah.
completely different story in August.
Speed up for the end of the
Okay,
year.
but has anybody noticed there's more people, more for sale by owners, more everything right now in the marketplace? This is the time, it's for sale by owner season. This is the time we hunt them, this is the time we take them, this is the time we do business. So pick one point, discuss it with someone, come back Tuesday, ready to discuss it, fair enough? I won't be here for script practice tomorrow morning, does not mean you don't get to come. Okay, come have a good time, I'll be at a graduation in St. George. All right, everybody, let's go to work.
Thank you, John.
John.
Again, you've just knocked it out of the
I didn't hear what else